The following BLTV program is brought to you by O'Flaherty Law. Please enjoy.
Thanks for listening to the On Purpose Growth podcast. Let us know what you thought in the comment section. For more from On Purpose Growth, go to onpurposegrowth.com. Subscribe here at BLTV for all of our content, including the daily Learn About Law podcast, Seize Your Business, Making Real Estate Fun, and Logical Logistics podcast, brought to you by O'Flaherty Law. Thanks for listening.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another On Purpose Growth podcast. My name is Brian McDonald, partner at On Purpose Growth. And today I'm excited because I got Dan Henry on with us. And Dan Henry is a Wall Street Journal bestseller. He's the founder of GetClients.com, and he's been selling products online since 2009. And I'll let him do his intro here, give his background a little bit deeper. But the reason why I'm really excited is we're going to be talking about how Dan scaled to $15 million in revenue just by 10xing his prices. So you're going to want to listen into this. And Dan, thanks for coming on. And why don't you give a little bit more of your background, and then we'll dive right in.
Hey, I'm excited to be here. This is great. So to make a long story short, back in college, I paid my way through and paid for my expenses in college by doing little screen share sessions, like little Zoom sessions, basically, and teaching people how to use their home recording software. I was going to school for audio engineering, and so I noticed that there were like a lot of home recording enthusiasts that needed help using this professional software that I was learning about in college. So that's how I paid my way through college. And that was, basically coaching. It was consulting. Mm-hmm. Charged $50 an hour, and, I was able to get through college. So when I left, I kind of forgot about it. I never thought, well, that could be a $1 million business selling my knowledge. I never even thought about it. And from there, I spent the next decade of my life trying to be an entrepreneur and trying to, because that really gave me that feel for wow, I can make money myself without a boss, Mm-hmm. And so I went and I tried everything. I owned bars. I was a carny for a while. I had an Italian ice cart. Yeah, it was crazy. And I had some ups and I had some downs, but essentially I came to a point where I was broke because I just made some bad decisions, and I hadn't kept good tax records. I hadn't really had an accountant. Mm-hmm. So I started learning digital marketing, and I started, consulting and doing services for other businesses on digital marketing. Either I would do a done-for-you service for them, like running their Facebook ads, or mm-hmm. I would consult them on their funnel or whatever. Because I'd gained a lot of experience in digital marketing, promoting my bar and mm-hmm. the different businesses that I had. And I always was good at marketing. I wasn't very good at the business side, and that's why I was in this position. Well, I started doing that, and I got on my feet being a consultant and a done-for-you agency. But just as I was about to really get on my feet, I got a letter from the IRS that said I owed $250,000 in taxes. And at that point, I was like, all right, well, I'm definitely not on my feet now. So,
No.
Yeah. So I researched it, and I was like, how are people online making the most money possible in the quickest amount of time possible at the highest profit? Mm-hmm. And every single article I came back to was always online course. And I was like, all right, well, I kind of made money doing something similar back in college. I should give this a crack again. So I created an online course on how to do digital marketing. Mm-hmm. In my very specific niche. It was for local businesses. I did my very first webinar for it, made $48,000. Week later, did an encore webinar, made $52,000. So that's $100,000. I'm almost halfway to my IRS goal, and I'm all right, well, this is it. I got to figure out how to be the best in the world at this. Mm-hmm. And this is where it got interesting. Over the next 5 months, I hit $1 million in sales. I got those fancy plaque awards from ClickFunnels and all that. And then within a couple of years, I had hit 10 million. So I got the 8-figure award, and now we're, going over 15. I think we're at 17 or something now. But something interesting happened here. The first couple of years, I was actually struggling a bit because from 1 million to 8 million, was a bit of a struggle, and here's why. I call this my February versus February case study.
Okay.
In February of 2019, we did $1 million in a single month on a $1,000 product. Okay.
Wow.
And it may sound great. It's a nice bragging thing, but it was a nightmare. We had 1,900 support tickets. We had a 13% refund rate. We had a 3% chargeback rate. We had piracy. People were selling my course for $50 in Facebook groups. It was a mess. The clients were not the best people to work with because they were only paying $1,000. And not that people that pay $1,000 aren't good, but when you have a lot of people and they're not getting the attention they deserve, not that they deserve, but they're not getting good attention.
Yeah.
They're left to sort of be accountable on their own, and they only put $1,000 in. So they're not, they don't have that much skin in the game. And so I was at an event and I met a friend of mine who's an awesome guy. His name's Alex Harmozy. And I was talking to him, and this guy's got like a $50 million company, gym launch. And I said to him, Alex, how are you doing on like ads and how are you doing and everything? And he says, oh, we're doing great. We have like 16x ROI. It's crazy. It's fantastic. And I was like, really? I was like, that's really good ROI. I was like, what do you know about Facebook ads that I don't? And he says the craziest thing to me. He says, I don't know anything about Facebook ads. I'm a beginner. Like I'm not very good at them. And I go, what? What are you talking about? What? And he looks at me, he says, Dan, my cheapest product is 16 grand.
Wow.
I don't have to be good at ads. And I go, wow. And he goes, yeah, bro. He's like, it doesn't matter what I pay in ads. He goes, and I work with less clients. Our clients get better result because for 16 grand, I can provide tons of support.
Mm-hmm.
So I walked away from that and I went, all right, I'm going to make a change. So I 10x'd, I came up with a new program. I 10x'd my prices. I hired 4 coaches, hired more staff, provided, 1,000,000 times more support to my clients, like literally 4 coaching calls a week. Like I just went nuts on it. We launched it. We sold it for 10x the price. And what ended up happening was just in the very beginning, a year later, we had just got it to start working. And this is called February versus February. So I told you the numbers for February 2019. $1 million, crazy amount of support tickets, 1,900 support tickets, 13% refund rate, 3% chargeback rate. And this is because we couldn't get back to anybody fast enough because we had so many clients.
Really?
February 2020, 550 grand in revenue, 30% more profit, 423 support tickets, 400 of them were left over from the last one. 0 refunds, 0 chargebacks, 0 piracy. Because when you raise your prices, you sell over the phone by appointment.
Yep.
They sign a contract over the phone. Nobody's pirating that, right? They paid 10 grand, 15, 20, whatever it is. So then I created a mastermind that is about 5 times the cost of the program that we 10x, right? So very, very premium prices, but a much more premium service. So fast forward to today, we've even had $1 million day in high ticket. I did an event, a 2-day event. This is nuts because I was going to cancel it because of COVID, but I was like, you know what? I'll just do it virtually. I do it virtually. We sell 34 spots into a $30,000 mastermind offer.
Okay.
$1 million in a day, right? It's just crazy, right? Now, here's the thing. You might say, well, Dan, you raised your prices. Yeah, I get it. You raised the support, but are people really making enough money or getting that type of support to justify that? Well, when we went back and we looked at all the $1,000 buyers and the average amount of money that they made, and then we went and looked at the buyers that paid 10 times more, their ROI, their return on investment was 8 to 12x what it was on the 997.
Wow. So what do you think that is? Is just a different type of buyer completely?
It's not just that. It's all right. Imagine for a moment that your goal was to win local golf tournaments, right? Let's say those local golf tournaments paid $5 grand for first place.
Okay.
Now, let's say for $1,000, you could go to a local Tiger Woods seminar, 2 days, you attend and you're done, right? Now you would probably do better in those tournaments. You'd probably place and you would maybe win second prize, third prize, fourth prize. Maybe you win one. And so at the end of the year, you play those golf tournaments and maybe you make back, I don't know, 10 grand. So you got a 10x return on your investment, right? But now think that instead of paying $1,000, Tiger says, well, how about for 10 grand, you get a 1 month long, basically a 1 month long seminar where every week there's 3 private lessons a week with me for the next month. So you go and you do that. And then what happens? You start winning golf tournament after golf tournament. You start winning 5, 5, 5, 5, and you end up with, you know, $40,000 at the end of the year, okay, or 50 or whatever, and then you know you win 50,000 the next year. So what do you end up with, right? You can either make 10 grand extra, or sorry, 9 grand extra. So you make 10 grand extra. So you had $9,000 profit, or a $30,000 profit, or 40 or 50. And that's the thing, is we work with our clients at such a level that they make such a rapid improvement that it more than outweighs the investment, especially because we not only teach people to sell online courses, but we teach people to raise their prices and sell premium online courses. So think about this. If I can teach you how to take your $500 course and sell for 5 grand, and you make 2 sales, just 2, you've paid for the investment. You make a sale a week for the next 12 months, right? That's 56 sales times 5,000 equals 280,000 on, say, a $10,000 investment, right? Or you pay $1,000 and you get pretty much no support, just videos and stuff like that.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's like you actually make a bigger impact on the client at the higher price, and you make more money at the same time.
Exactly. I mean, we have 4 calls a week where I have coaches. We have a beginner call, an advanced call, a tech call, and a sales training call. That's a lot. You can't do that for $997.
Yeah.
And if you did, you wouldn't be very good at what you did.
Yeah, right. Well, it's a capacity issue, right? You don't have the capacity to actually serve at that price.
Right. And when people put that much skin in the game, they get far better results. They take it more seriously. I mean, our goal was to get people to either quit their job or hit 10 grand a month. And we had hundreds of people that did it, but that was such a small goal. Now I remember, Funnel Hacking Live, okay. Last year I was one of the speakers, but I remember I was in line, and my staff was behind me, and they were announcing all the Two Comma Club winners, right? And they get them all on stage, and one of my employees, Stephanie, kind of like bumps me in the rib, and she goes, "Dan, are you seeing what I'm seeing?" And I said, "What?" And she goes, "Look at the stage." And I go, "Okay." And she goes, "More than half of the people on that stage are your students, or your clients." And I'm like, "Oh, that's
amazing, man.
That's
amazing."
And so that's the thing is, we've got a guy that he's been in my mastermind for 3 years, didn't have a course. He was an agency owner, right? His name's Andy. Great guy, teaches lawyers how to market. He went from an agency, no course, no nothing, no knowledge of any of that. He's been with me 3 years. He's made well over $1 million. He even had about a $220,000 day. Wow. I mean, but again, if you think about it, I don't think if he would have bought a $997,000 product, logged into some videos, he would have done anywhere near that. And so your investment, whether it's 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, it's so insignificant compared to what you can make when you actually have the support you need. That's the ticket.
And so when you think back on you owning an agency and this Andy owning an agency, and you didn't have any products, let alone a high ticket, and neither did Andy, what problems are people experiencing that they may not understand, or what opportunity, I guess, even are they losing by resisting going in this direction?
Well, there's always a fear thing, right? There's always a fear thing because you think, well, if I focus on creating a course or a coaching program, now my agency is going to fall apart. Well, here's the thing. I did the same thing. Andy did the same thing. Andy leveraged his agency in the beginning, testimonials to sell info. Then he hired somebody to run his agency while he was scaling his info. Then he sold his agency. It's a 3-part process. And we help our clients with that 3-part process. But that's what it is. It's number one, you leverage testimonials from your done-for-you clients to sell info. Then you hire somebody to manage your agency once your info is doing well. Then you sell your agency. And that's what he did. And he's doing great. And that's just one of many clients that I have that have done pretty much that same path. And that's what I did. That's the path I took. Because here's the thing. Once you get to a point where you're making, just crazy profit from, let me give you an example. My first year, I was able to buy an 8,000 square foot house in St. Petersburg, Florida on the water. I was able to just this year start investing. The profit from my info, but now here's a caveat, right? I don't want to, it's not all butterflies and rainbows. When you have an info business, it's crazy profit, but you can't sell it because it's you. Okay.
Right. Exactly.
You start an e-commerce business, you make pretty much nothing, but then you can sell it years later for a big ticket price. But here's what I do. I leverage my info business and I take the profit every month and I put it in investments. So every month I find at least one new deal. I invest an extra 6 figures per month into something. I bought 6,000 shares of Apple. I put money into multiple housing deals. I bought, most recently, I bought a 60-foot luxury yacht that we're going to be chartering. And, yeah, right. I've got money in cannabis deals for like lending money to cannabis farms. Ryan Levesque turned me onto that. Just a lot of different deals. And if you think about it, right, if you put $1 million into your average deal that says, let's just say pays 15%, that's $1 million where somewhere. And then every quarter you just get in your bathrobe with the cigar hanging out of your mouth and the slippers, walk out to your mailbox. That's 140 grand a year that you don't have to do anything for.
Right.
And that's my strategies. Make money with info, put it in investments. And then one day my only job will be to walk out to that mailbox.
Yeah, right. Well, I want to call out something here that I'm noticing that I want people to pay attention to is, and you'll describe this. It sounds like from agency owner to today, you've changed as a person and how you think about owning and running businesses. And there's even a distinction as what you just described versus when you 10x your price and that person. Am I noticing this right?
Oh yeah. I mean, I was a kid when I started my agency in my mind, I mean, I was like in my late 20s, but still to me, mentally, I was a kid. And I'd like to say that I had some epiphany or I met some mystical figure, but honestly, it's really just figuring stuff out, having a growth mindset, realizing that it's not just about getting better at what you do, but it's about getting better as a person. I had a beautiful son. He's 2 years old right now, and that changed my perspective a lot. I used to do the Gary Vee thing, as one might put it. I used to cuss a lot in my marketing. And I don't do that anymore. I haven't done it in a long time. And it's because there was a day when I'd done a live video and my son likes to watch my videos. He loves watching me speak. So one of my housekeeper was there and he was asking to watch the video. And he's like, a year and a half, he's like, Daddy, video, So she puts it on and all of a sudden I'm cussing in the video and my housekeeper, who also nannies sometimes, she goes and takes her hands and puts it over his ears. And it was like at that moment that I realized, like, okay, my kid is eventually going to be looking at what Daddy built, and I have to think about that. And when I did that, not only did I feel better, but honestly, And I know that a lot of, Gary Vee, Tony Robbins, they would argue with this,
Right.
but the quality of my clientele did go up. It did go up.
Wow. That's interesting. It's as the business evolves, you evolve, or they evolve together, what it sounds like to me, because, just the iteration of, 10Xing your price, you were one person. And then as that came to fruition, now you're a different person. Investing 6 figures a month is some serious investments, right? Like,
Well, it's better than letting it sit in the bank,
I know, right? Tell me about it. So, what if some people are struggling thinking, Dan made, millions of dollars. He can easily 10X his price. What would you have to say to that person who's kind of a little skeptical or on edge?
Well, I'm not saying that you have to come out with $100,000 offer your first day in business, but most of the people that work with me, my clients, we generally get them to begin with either a $3,000 or $5,000 offer. And I'm talking, it could even be a fitness offer. I have a client, awesome woman, Shayna. She was charging very low prices for her weight loss program, which has to do with balancing your hormones. And within a couple of weeks, I got her to raise her prices to $5,000, restructure her program to be more valuable to the client. And her first 2 weeks, she did $35,000. Never done that much in her life. Her clients also were a lot happier. And so I understand that you might say, well, I can't charge that much. But here's the thing. People who are willing to pay more are also easier to say yes to when it comes time for the sale. And that's a thing that most people don't realize. Like, you see people haggle at a buy here, pay here car lot, but they don't haggle at a Ferrari dealership. Now you might say, okay, well, that's great, but how do I know I'm worth it? Well, here's the thing. Most people undervalue themselves because they focus on, and this is the key, they focus on what they are delivering, not what they're delivering ends up resulting in. So for instance, I'll give you an example. I know somebody that sells a marriage coaching program for $10,000. Now you might say, how can you sell a marriage coaching program for $10,000? You're not making any money from that. Like, I mean, if you sell a business coaching program for $10,000, that makes sense because you can make money. But marriage coaching? Well, here's the thing. If you don't get that marriage coaching and your marriage falls apart, how much will that cost you?
Oh, yeah.
Only half of everything you've ever worked for,
Yeah,
half your
right.
house, half your investments, half your cars. So you're talking about, like, let's say you have $500,000 in assets. Would you spend $10,000 to save $250,000? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
And people don't think about it. Like, I have a guy that sells a $5,000 offer on how to find a girlfriend. Now,
Really?
think about this. Would you pay, let's say you're really terrible at meeting women, talking to women. Do you think, let's say you're 25 years old. Now, your life could go one of two ways. Go from 25 to 50. The next 25 years of your life being lonely, feeling unloved, being unloved. Is that worth not paying $5,000? Like, think about this. You're talking about the ability to finally get over your fears and get over and talk to women, have beautiful relationships, maybe meet your dream wife, and the right woman. And as well, create memories and experiences so that when you're laying up in a nursing home, you don't look back on your life and say, I never even talked to a girl. You don't think that that's worth $5,000? And that's the thing, is the reason people say, well, I'm not worth it. It's guys, it's not because you haven't had a name in the industry yet. It's not because you haven't had tons of clients that sing your praises. It's because you're undervaluing yourself. And you're undervaluing, and you're trying to sell people the what and not the result. Oh, well, I do this many coaching calls and I do this and I do that. I once paid $25,000 for an hour consulting call with an options trader. And I made back almost that entire amount within a week based on what they told me. Now, you might say, Dan, You paid 25 grand for an hour call? No, I didn't. I paid 25 grand to learn how to make far more than that every single month with pressing a button a week. And that right there is how you think like a millionaire. You don't invest in things based on what you get. You invest in things based on what you get as a result. I was happy that it was only an hour call, because to me, more is not better. Faster.
Yeah, right. Yeah, people don't care about the thing that we sell. They care about what they get out of it, right? And if you figure out how to sell that.
But more importantly, if you sell it to them as a features tell, benefits sell. If you sell them features, they will buy with that in mind. If you sell them the result, they will buy with that in mind. And so it's not just about it's undervaluing yourself, and it's also how you present your offer. If you present your offer as, well, you get this and this and this and this, that's why people aren't willing to pay. You need to present it by what they get as a result. If I say, give me $10,000 and I will give you a marriage coaching call per week, I'll give you 15 cheat sheets, I'll give you a 15-hour course, you're like, But if I say, give me $10,000 and I will work with you, just like I've worked with 100 other couples to save your marriage so that you don't lose half your house, half your cars, half this, your children get, you see, now that $10,000 becomes far more palatable.
Oh, yeah.
It's all in the presentation.
So last question as we wind down, there's clearly in here an understanding of who the actual buyer is at this higher price. I would think that there's always that understanding, right? But it seems to me that there's clarity developed with who that avatar is, however you want to call it. Am I hearing that right?
Yes. And I'm not the biggest avatar person.
Yeah.
I don't like that word. I like to kind of do it backwards. I say, here's a problem. Like think about it this way. Every single product in existence is a solution to a problem. Every single one. If you are hot and your AC is broken, you call an AC company. The problem is your AC is broken. The solution is the AC company comes and fix it. If you're hungry and you go to a restaurant, right? The restaurant is the solution. Being hungry is the problem. If you buy a fidget spinner, you're bored. The solution is a fidget spinner. You can't find an exception to this rule. There is not an exception. Okay. So what I do is I identify a problem, I create a solution, and then my audience is simply people with that problem. That's as far as I think about it.
I love it. But you work from that end in mind. It has nothing to do with the thing that you sell. The thing you sell is just part of that process.
Yes. And that is exactly how Steve Jobs built the greatest computer company in human history, is because he never would listen. And I don't mean to say this like you shouldn't listen to your employees, but he didn't listen to his employees and his computer engineers when they said, listen, this is what people want because they can do this and that, and they can change out hard drives. He said, listen, people don't want a computer. They want to connect. People don't want an iPhone. They want to get things done faster, right? He started with the end in mind. He said, here's an experience I want to create. Here's what I want to happen. Go build something that makes this happen. And it was his vision to start with the end in mind, where no other every other computer company wanted to, pander to compute as he put it, the computer geek market, people who liked computers. Whereas Steve Jobs, he didn't pander to anybody. He created an experience that any human would want to experience. And he made a product that allowed that experience to happen. He started with the end in mind. And that is why he built the greatest computer company. And you could argue that the iPhone is the one single product that changed our culture, the way we communicate, the way we live our lives. Facebook, Instagram, that wouldn't exist without the iPhone.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly. Well, I love it, man. Well, this has been awesome, Dan. I appreciate it. It's clear that you're making a huge impact in your clients. So please share how people can find you if they want to learn more about, what you do.
So I always say, hey, I'm most active on Instagram. Follow me at Dan Henry. But if you want to get started and learn a lot more about what I've been talking about in this episode, This right here is my book, Digital Millionaire Secrets. And this is a Wall Street Journal bestseller. I wrote this book as if somebody said to me, Dan, you could go back in time, you could meet your former self, and you could tell them all the mistakes that they shouldn't have made and how to do this faster and how to succeed faster, but you can't talk. You got to give them something written. Well, this is the manual I would give them. And in here, there's a lot on creating your program, switching to high ticket eventually, if that's, or doing it immediately as well. This is probably the most popular section of the book. Remember how I told you the first 30 days I did 100 grand when I started my offer?
Yeah, right.
Well, this right here is a blueprint, how I made 100K in 30 days blueprint. It's a day by day, hour by hour account, to the best of my recollection, of every single thing I did every single day. And a lot of people just simply follow this and it gets them started. So what you can do is you can get a copy of this book, and this is how I like to do business. Look, read my book. If you love the book and you want to book a call with my team to see if we can help you, then do so. If you don't, then don't. But I always say to people, read my book first. Like, see if it's for you. And you can get this book. What I'll do for your audience is I'll give you a free copy. All you have to do is pay shipping. And if you're in the US, we are doing 2-day shipping right now, which is really cool. Just pay for shipping, and it's a nominal fee, but I'll actually pay for the cost of the book, send it out to you. You can get that at getclients.com/onpurpose. getclients.com/onpurpose.
Oh, that's awesome. Really generous of you, Dan. And everybody, if you didn't write that link down, wherever you're watching or listening to this, you'll see the link. And I mean, he just described, you have a minute by minute, hour by hour plan that he documented on how he did it. And all you have to do is just follow it, right? So go grab the book, right? Shipping is not that expensive wherever you're living, if you're living in the US. So go get the book. And again, we'll share the link here. And follow Dan.
International shipping too.
Oh, you got international too.
Yeah, the 2 days only for US. So
you have no excuse.
Ship worldwide.
You have no excuse not to get this book. So, and start following Dan across Instagram and all over places. So Dan, again, thanks for being on, man. This was awesome. I appreciate you sharing your insights, and you definitely gave people a lot to think about and take action on. So thank you, man.
Awesome, man. I had a great time.
Thank you. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning into this episode of the On Purpose Grow podcast, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care.
The following BLTV program is brought to you by O'Flaherty Law. Please enjoy.